In the 1980s, two guys from Bath, England wrote the soundtrack to an entire generation. Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Shout, Mad World. But by 1991, the band behind those songs had completely fallen apart. And it wasn't drugs, and it wasn't a woman, and it wasn't even the music. It was a business decision the two of them could never agree on. And the man at the center of it would later be convicted of fraud.
Roland Orzabal and Curt Smith met as teenagers in Bath, England, bonding over broken homes and absent fathers. They formed Tears for Fears in 1981, taking their name from a primal therapy concept, and within 4 years, they were one of the biggest acts on the planet. Songs from the Big Chair hit #1 in the US, and the album itself sold millions of copies worldwide. Shout and Everybody Wants to Rule the World became inescapable on radio and MTV alike. Orzabal wrote and produced most of the material, while Smith sang lead on some of their biggest hits and handled bass. For most of the decade, the partnership worked, and the two of them, still barely into their 20s, found themselves running a genuine international business together, with real money and real decisions flowing through both of their hands every day.
Then came their third album, The Seeds of Love. It became a hit, but making it nearly broke the band apart. It took almost 3 years and cost around £1 million to record, an enormous amount at the time. Orzabal had turned into a perfectionist, scrapping and recording material until it was exactly right. Smith, meanwhile, was going through a divorce and increasingly checked out of the sessions. But the real fracture between them wasn't creative at all. It was over who was actually managing their money.
Their manager at the time ran a company called Outlaw Agency, and by the late 1980s, it was hemorrhaging money. Orzabal wanted him gone. Smith, for his own reasons, held off pulling the trigger, and the disagreement between them dragged on for months without ever being resolved. Orzabal's instincts turned out to be right. In 1990, that manager's company collapsed into bankruptcy, and he was later convicted of fraud in an unrelated scheme. By then, the damage to the partnership was already done. In 1991, after a bruising Seeds of Love World tour, Curt Smith walked away from Tears for Fears for good. He and Orzabal wouldn't speak again for 9 years.
Here's the part that gets missed. It's easy to blame the split on ego or creative exhaustion, but underneath, it was a much more common problem. Two people who shared money and decisions disagreeing on who to trust with both, and letting that disagreement fester for months instead of resolving it quickly. That is not just rock band problems. That's any business partnership, any marriage with joint finances, any two people building something valuable together over the years. The moment you stop being able to agree on who's watching shared money is the moment the whole thing is genuinely at risk.
Orzabal kept the rights to the name and carried on as Tears for Fears through the 1990s, releasing 2 albums that barely moved the needle commercially. Smith released solo records under his own name, and later under a different name entirely, with similarly modest results. Separately, neither man came close to matching what they'd built together. The brand, the songwriting chemistry, the built-in audience, none of it transferred to either of them alone. Two careers that once filled arenas together spent most of a decade playing to half-empty rooms apart, chasing a level of success that had only ever really existed as a partnership.
In 2000, Smith sent Orzabal a fax with nothing but his phone number written on it. Orzabal called. 9 years of silence ended in a single conversation. They slowly rebuilt the partnership, touring together again and releasing Everybody Loves a Happy Ending in 2004. Then, in 2022, nearly 2 decades after that reunion began, they released The Tipping Point to the best reviews of their entire career. The lesson here isn't really about a band. It's about what happens when two people building something together stop agreeing on who's watching the money, whether that's a business partner, a spouse, or anyone else you share financial decisions with. Unresolved disagreements over oversight Don't stay small forever. I'm Amy. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.